All right, what's going on, Quirkstar? So I am going to basically do a video that's going to be like a walkthrough for Fiddlesticks. Uh, Currently, my furthest elo that I've gotten to was promos for Plat 3, but that was at support, and I got really tired of it, so I decided to try and learn jungle, and I dropped down and whatever to currently Gold 3, which I'm okay with because I feel like I could do uh, more stuff around the map, affect the game more, and I always kind of wanted to jungle as a main instead of support. So I'm gonna try and do a walkthrough as Fiddlesticks. So this will be like an educational video, basically as a jungler and as a Fiddlesticks main. Now, biggest thing I want you guys to realize is we'll we'll be losing in the beginning, but we end up being able to turn it around. And I want to show you things that we did as uh, the team as a whole and how it works with objectives in order to actually turn the game around in our favor and then end up winning. Spoiler alert, I know, but you'll see. So as Fiddlesticks, normally the biggest thing that they talk about is depending on what side you're going, you want to ward specifically. But because I'm red side and I looked at the team comp, I wanted to counter or do like a mirror Elise's jungling path. So I don't want to end up on the red side or on top side. I'm going to try and keep this on her. I don't want to end up on top side when she's top side. I kind of want to be opposite of her because she could probably beat me 1v1. And their team has more of a. So, turn down the volume. And their team has more of an all-in engage on me if I were to fight her. So, like, prior to going into the game, you always want to check the team comp. Now, in this case, I'm doing with top, but it's a Soraka versus Renekton, which I don't really expect her to have a lot of priority on. And it's a Nasus versus the Talon, so like the same thing. Uh, so right now, I want to work on getting to 6 as quick as possible, while also being able to um, get good ganks off in the lane. Um, and you'll start seeing like how I kind of go through that. So again, right now we're tied in camps with Elise. Keep it on me. So like we're both tied, but the difference between myself and Elise is that Fiddlesticks can pull double camps. A lot of the times when you are trying to pull doubles, you'll see this little leaf foliage on the corner of the hit of the red buff, and you always want to pull right there. You'll be able to pull the raptors, and you'll be able to pull the red buff into that area. And for Grom's blue, right here where the rock is, you'll probably be able to pull them both as well. So my uh, thinking along this is I saw Elise going mid. I don't want to run up because I figured he was going to die right off the bat. So I could have probably ran up there and killed her, but I was more concerned about securing the scuttle, which isn't technically the right thing to do. You kind of want to respawn, but I also wasn't sure where Talon was. So it might have been a 2-for-1 trade where I would have just killed Elise and then Talon would have cleaned up. So I didn't want that, so I wanted to make sure I got the scuttle, make sure we have some vision in the river, and then I want to move upwards. What I like to do with Fiddlesticks is at least make sure on my first back I have about 1200 gold so that I can get my Fiendish Codex and my boots. So here I would have taken the Raptors, but I saw Talon move up into this area earlier, and I was worried that he was going to ward. And as a Fiddlesticks, you kind of want to play like an Evelyn does, where you don't want to show yourself on the map to the enemy team because it keeps that psychological gameplay for them, where they'll play more passive, more defensive than they will be playing aggressive because they don't have vision on you. And against the Fiddlesticks, Evelyn, all those people that work on like assassinating the enemy, that's kind of how you want it to go. So I was rotating top wards and I knew I wanted to make a gank top because I saw the Renekton low and it's my duo, so I don't want to upset my duo. But I saw that he came back and that was an easy cleanup. I came from the back here. Even if he did ward, he was already too far up where I was going to be able to just fear him, silence like I did, and then drain. At this point, the dragon was up. My duo asked me to push the lane, but we messed up here because the Renekton had a Telly, and the Renekton ends up basically doing a one-for-one trade by killing the Soraka and almost picks one off on me. But we end up getting two summoners off of the Renekton, but he also ended up getting two summoners off of us. Actually, I think he got three because Soraka, yeah, he barriered. And then I flashed after that. So here, the Elise actually ended up walking past the ward, and this is something that I really want to make sure silver and gold players pay attention. If you ward an area, make sure you keep your eye on the area, or else the ward is pointless. You know, if you're not actually using the ward for its intended purposes. So he ends up getting ganked, ends up dying. I went back from almost dying to the Nectin. But Elise was really low and she went back, so I figured I want to try my best to make a game or a play bot lane so that we can get the dragon. So if I could gank, if I'm able to gank bot or at least get like a good trade in, that will give me priority to take the dragon. So that's my mentality as a jungler. But I'll try and clear because I didn't see Bard there yet. Fortunately, I think they did a one for one. I continue to just keep clearing because I figured there's no point. Can't help bot right now. There's nothing really going on in any of the lanes, so farming in my jungle was really the only thing I can go for. I could have forced the dragon with the bard, but I didn't know if MF stayed. Clearly, she didn't stay because of the lane, but I figured I'll just path again and I'll come back later. I want to make sure that Ashe and Bard are back in lane so that we have a guaranteed objective. And right now you can see 6-3 we're losing. Spoiler alert, we'll lose a little bit more. So here, I'm already 3 camps ahead of the Elise. Every camp is 4. And I saw a pick happening here. So I was able to get my 6. Let me see. Slow it down for you. So the biggest thing with so with Fiddlesticks, let me see if I can get. Okay, so Fiddlesticks' main abilities, he has the effigies, which replaces the wards. His W is the thing that drains, and at the last pull, I believe he does more. But harvest, refund, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Well, anyway, always know that if you do the full channel, the last dot from the channel from Fiddlesticks will do the majority. Will do like the most damage, and you know they don't say it, but you'll be able to tell like the last pull from his W. If you play Fiddlesticks, you'll understand. You'll get the feel of it. His E is the silence. It has a really long range, but the most important part of his kit is his Q. And the reason why I'm saying this is because of passive. So the way Fiddlesticks works, just so you guys understand, is, and so that way you guys can fight against this, is that Fiddlesticks' Q passive is whenever he casts an ability from an unseen location, from an unwarded spot, the ability will create a fear on the enemy. And then after that, if they were already feared by the passive, the Q does higher damage. So right there it says, if the target has recently been terrified, instead deal 12% plus 2% per 50 AP of the target's current health, minimum of 80 as magic damage. So if you like all over do an ability and then you Q afterwards, you'll basically chunk them. So that's how you want to make sure when you're ganking. that you're ganking through unwarded areas, and that's where his passive ward comes into play because it will scan the area for free once he hits 6. That way, you could scan it, clear any wards, and then pull off your ability. So here I just completed 2 camps, and I see that Talon is kind of pushing up, and since he's been aggressive towards Nasus, just keep an eye on the mid. You can see here, let me just boost it up a little bit. I see that he's staying pushed up, so I try to set my area. I try to ward, make sure he didn't ward that. And then I see him ult, so I ult in directly afterwards, which instantly fears him. And then I fear again for more damage, and that's it. So that's another way plan. So okay, so after this, I could have went top, but I didn't want to because Soraka was low health, so the trade wouldn't be in my immediately. So I go back to camping my or clearing my blue. In this respect, I also wanted to make sure I got the dragon. So Soraka heals. I finish my blue, and then I start moving my way towards bot lane. I see that they clean that up, so I start dragon. Now, here's what I want you guys to understand. As a support, uh, this he's doing absolutely nothing. Why is he doing absolutely nothing? Because he's got nothing to do. Lies. I'm kidding. He does have something to do. He can help his jungler. Bard has his spell thieves, so there's no reason why Bard should have wasted that much time in lane. You'll see here the Talon goes in and kills the Ashe. Now, some of you guys will be like, well, you know, it's the first dragon, it doesn't really matter, blah blah blah, yada yada. Okay. True, however, if the dragon is free, take the dragon. What could have happened there, if you look at how this happened, if you looked at, we'll even check how much time was. So, he sits here. I already started dragon and I pinged for it. So, he sits there for almost, God, he sits here for almost like 10 seconds just chilling. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll go help the dragon, I guess. So if he had helped earlier, this dragon would have been completed faster because Ashe doesn't need help pushing the lane, especially if he's just standing there. He didn't help, he didn't do anything. If we had finished the dragon on time, we would have been able to collapse in on the Talon when the Ashe came and probably kill the Talon too. But we didn't. So as a support, remember, if you're not going to push the lane, if you're not going to help the ADC, look for the next best thing, which is the objective. If you could help an objective somewhere else, go help the jungler, go help securing objectives. Don't waste anybody's time. Anyway, moving forward. So I don't know if this is going on. For me, I don't really care because golems will normally be my last clear that I want. I'll try to like stay happy within full clear blue and raptors and red when I can, and if there's time, I'll rotate up to golems to clear it. So I see them pushing off. They look really low. I figured I'd come in. If there's anything, I just chill here for a bit. So while this is happening, I want you to look at this. Okay. So I see a lot of ADCs do this during the CLO. She's by herself. Bard isn't with her. She knows Bard is top. They know Swain and MF are both down there. So I don't understand when I see ADCs do this stuff. They overextend for the CS, knowing that the bot lane is still there, and I'm pretty sure she dies here. Yeah. See, there's no point for doing that. I understand as an ADC you want to get CS, but you're gonna lose more CS by dying. Just push what you can. If anything, I would say stay behind the minions far enough so that the CS or any type of CC won't work. But if you don't even have this bush warded or this bush warded, it's important to like just play safe. That or go back and buy. I don't know if she's also an Ashe, so she could have hawk shot if it was available. Anyway, that rant. I'm probably actually gonna end up saying like point out a lot of things. I'll even point out my own mistakes. So here, I know Renekton's pushing up. I can't face him 1v1. She gets, or Bard gets eyes on the Elise. So I'm moving in. I know it's not available right now. There's no scuttle, but I see Elise go in. So I tell the Nasus I'm coming in. He keeps him in the spot, and I just go in to clean up. Easy. And it. So the biggest thing also about being a jungler. All right, I know this seems like common sense, but I'm gonna say it anyway. The least amount of times you die, the more effective you're gonna be on the map. Though, if as a jungler, if you die, you lose 100% like or objective controls. You lose 100% map presence, all that stuff, because now they know, okay, the jungler's down. We don't have to worry about ganks essentially. Um, so there's a more aggressive mentality when that happens. So in this respect, this is where it comes in for me. I was like, okay, Elise is dead. I tried to gank top, but Renekton killed Soraka. So the next best thing that I could do is the Rift Herald. I saw Renekton try to gank the Nasus mid, uh, but I wasn't sure if he was going to come to Rift Herald. So I pulled the Rift Herald towards the top side of the pit. Because if he did, my ward would tell me, and then I could easily run away. Um, and if it was low enough, I'd be able to smite it quickly. So I didn't know he went back, but I had to do a safety precaution. So I secured that. Again, Elise had died bot lane for no reason. Um, and there's this mentality again that like, I need to get the first tower, I need to take this tower out because it's low. But there's no wars happening here. And like, people always tend to like overplay. They want to make up for a lot of mistakes, and then they end up making more mistakes. So I go back, I end up buying, finish my jungle item, which is a huge power spike for junglers. I get my stopwatch, so I know at least I can tower dive, be a little more aggressive, and uh, take more objectives that way. Okay, so here I know the let me. Oops. So drags up in 30 seconds. 27 seconds now. So I know I want to start making my way towards bot side and making plays here. It's like, that's what I thought I was going to do, but I didn't. What I should have done, I should have played more around there. Um, Maybe we would have cleaned up stuff, but I think I saw Renekton pushing, so I decided to change my mind there. But the power play probably would have been um, to go to Dragon. But for whatever reason, they didn't take Dragon. I think I already committed top, so I was like, fuck it. I'll go for golems if they take the dragon. It's fine. I'll try and make a power play for the next one. So these guys take a tower and they want a team fight on bot side. But for whatever reason, this Elise is obsessed with getting CS that she didn't just ping them to go to dragon next. I actually don't. So what bot lane should have done? Everybody should have quickly collapsed back towards dragon instead of going back and buying, because even Talon was there, they would have had, uh, they would have won that team fight. But for whatever reason, like, I guess she went back to her camps. I see that there's nothing here. I have Rift Herald, so my play is to summon the Rift Herald and make it a distraction for the enemy team so that I can now secure the dragon. See how that works. So she wastes her ult there. It wasn't even necessary because the Rift Herald was still going to take it. I try to ward here. I think didn't make a play. And then I'm pretty sure I pinged for dragon to come. Everybody just collapsed on dragon. So this is pink warded already, so they'd have to clear from afar. So, okay, this is something that I actually kind of want to watch first. Okay, so I'm going to actually do a play-by-play on what's happening. So over here, we know Renekton's top. So whatever team fight we're going to have, Dragon is going to be a 5v4 because everybody's bot side. I know we're going to be able to win a team fight. The only difference is being able to position correctly and being able to actually manage the objective, which is the dragon and the enemy team. So I want to pull out the dragon so that it's further away from the pit, which forces the enemy team to have to come to us. It'll either force Talon to use the jump or whatever, but either way, they won't be able to steal the dragon from staying in the pit. And that's kind of what you want. If you have numbers games, you want them to come to you so it's easier to pick them off. So Talon is trying to get from behind, and I'm positioned between the dragon and Ashe. So here, Talon already ults. He goes in, and I'm pretty sure I try to manage while still being able to take the dragon. Bard did a really good job to peel off for the Ashe. I smite. Now here's the biggest part. We take the kill off of him, but I'm trying to lose vision from the enemy team. The minute they lose vision of me means my ult is going to be able to do a team fear. So here, I move here. I thought they were going to pull in, but then I'll move up because I realized that two of them are in this location near the pixel bush of the river. So I want to ult over here, but I don't do it immediately because I want to make sure that they commit to the team fight, or they commit to feeling. So they think it's still a 3v3 with two ults. So I see that they come in on the Ashe. I start ulting, and they're in perfect position so I can come in. So here I was able to get a fear off of the MF. I fear again for the extra damage, and then I drain. So this allows me to take the kill from those two, and they were able to focus on the Elise. So now my mentality is, all right, we took an objective. There's only one person up. It's still the Renekton pushing. He already took one tower. So I see Soraka is recalling to go back, but she's been losing the 1v1s with Renekton. So I want to be able to support her. There's the whole team still up. So letting 3 push mid while I go top with Soraka is... So again, we come in. He's still being able to take damage, but he's not really paying attention to what our team's doing. His focus on trying to take that tower. So I'm kind of behind Soraka, but he commits to Soraka, and we just CC him with the turret aggro to death. So this is what I'm talking about objectives. Right now, we were able to do 2 dragons, 1 Rift Herald, and we were up on 1 tower. They have more towers taken from us, but we have more of the objectives in terms of the dragon, the Rift Herald, whatever. So they're still up in CC too, but we're also winning team fights now. Now, my biggest thing is to be concerned about our next objective. I don't see anything up except for the Rift Herald, so I want to be sure that we're there again for the Rift Herald. Now, I'm pretty sure I fuck up here, and it's strictly because I kind of tell them to back off. After a while, we'll just fast forward through that because they're gonna try and take the tower. So they were playing passive, aggressively passive, if that makes sense. And I tell them to take the turret. So here's where I mess up. My ult is up again. I know that I can position here to ult over and do a team fear again, but for whatever reason, I see her flash in, and I want to save the Ashe as quick as possible. So I foolishly flash under turret to insta-fear, and they were able to collapse in on me and die. Again, not the smartest thing. What I should have done is, even if the Ashe was going to die, I should have channeled the ult, jumped over, feared everybody, and would have been able to pick off more of the enemy team. And probably been able to use my stopwatch at that time. So anyway, they end up getting a shutdown on me. We're able to kind of salvage the wave back. Let me fast forward. So, okay. I think they get a pick off of the... Yeah, they do. They get a pick off the enemy team. They kill the Swain. It's not a... I think it's like hell yes, because now they kill Swain. They're low. See? He's a quarter. So you always want to pay attention to the team. Third quarter, so I'm like, okay, it doesn't matter. I have a Nasus that's full health, and I have Bard. Soraka could have came with help if she wanted to, but I'm like, this is a free Rift Herald. Free objectives is always one you want to go for. So I don't care about the vision because even if they came in on us, we'd be able to win the team fight. But because Elise showed herself bot, again, I wasn't worried anymore. Um, and I gave it to the Nasus. The majority of the time, I'll try and give up the Rift Herald if it is able to provide more gold to a lane that's winning or that's capable of carrying. Since Nasus is like a champ that is a late game champ, I want to try and rush as much gold and funnel as much gold as I can to him. So I let him take the Rift Herald. Okay, so here they saw that I was here. Now, I think this is where I redeem myself. So Renekton makes a mistake. He knows I was here, but he wants to come in for that tower. I ult over like I should have originally, and we're able to take a pick off the Renekton, which kind of loses their threat because Renekton's Renekton's their front line essentially. So that kind of changed the momentum, and as you can see, because the enemy team is so focused on getting kills and forcing stuff that now they've made so many mistakes that now we're in the lead. Kills to 1 death, and Elise is losing. Their MF is positive, and so Nasus doing Nasus things top lane. MF pings, I ping too, or sorry, Ash. Ash pings that Dragon's up. I do the same. I want to get Dragon. I see Elise top, so again, it's another free objective. Me. This should not be happening at all. You see how there are 4 people top? I see that a lot in this elo and in silver elo and low elos as well. Everybody gets so tunneled with having to finish something that like nobody realizes what else is happening on the map. Ash pulled off a really good ult. I wanted to take the objective, and I knew I was going to be able to kill Talon afterwards, but I'm sorry to say I did not care about the Ash surviving that. I was more concerned about securing the objective, which honestly is kind of, you have to prioritize. Right now, our Ash is 8 and 9, so she's not doing badly, but I don't want to die either, and I want to secure more objectives in our favor so that we can win. So good ult on both people. I think I died. Oh, I didn't die. Okay, cool. So it was a good ult on Bard and Soraka. They kept me alive. They took the objective. That was I think it was a 1-for-1 with the tower in their favor, which is still fine. I know they have more towers than us, and right now they have 2k more gold, but like where we have 3 dragons, so each dragon is slowly buffing us. So it's creating like an item, if that makes any sense. Like every time you have a dragon, that's like part of an item that's buffing your stats. So here, I know that Baron's up. Baron's, I think, the only objective. So I was honestly just trying to ward. Swain tried to get a pick off of the Soraka, but I was around to prevent that. Talon's pushing bot, and they want to push mid. So they're pushing. I think I want them to pull in. The way Fiddlesticks works is he's like he's the type of champ that like works well when he creates the chaos. So you never want to push towards the enemy. You want the enemy to come towards you. So it's kind of like setting up a trap. If you force the Fiddlesticks ult in vision, you don't get all of the benefits of the passive fear and the multiple team fear. So here we're kind of just like managing the wave, making sure we're pushing back. We want to save time for objectives while still keeping an eye on them. Here I think I saw, so the thought process, if you look at how these people move, let me you want to make sure you're always keeping an eye on this. I see that the Renekton was moving top. I didn't want to engage on Renekton, but when Renekton was standing here, a ward was placed here and that range is too far out, so I knew somebody else was here. And the minute the MF saw this ward, she started picking, so I wanted to make a pick on her. Um, but it doesn't work in my favor. She's able to heal and get out, which is fine because I guess the Elise tried to counter my gank, and she ends up losing because she didn't ward this, so she kind of failed. And because, again, like I said, the biggest thing for a jungler is keeping map pressure. But when the enemy knows a jungler's dead, that alleviates the enemy team from worrying about like what's the next best move. So Ashe pings for the Baron. I agree with Ashe because there's no jungler. So we start the Baron. This should not be happening. They the tunnel again. Everybody needs to work on that in this elo and all like gold and below. Because there's so much tunneling happening. You already was able to get all of the summoner spells from the Renekton, so you just need to pull off and help on Baron. That's one because the Bard died. That's one less person that has the Baron buff and less pressure. But the Baron buff in general is really good for pressuring. But you want to be smart. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so here I think at this point I'm trying to manage the wave and then cause pressure on the objective. Now, because of that Baron buff, we're now in the lead for gold. And they're making really dumb mistakes now. They're like desperate for making something happen. It's that mentality of I fucked up or I'm behind, now I'm trying to force stuff to happen. And that's the biggest issue. When you start letting the nerves get to you is you have to calm it down. You have to know, all right, I know they have Baron. I know I'm overextended. I need to go back. He wasn't able to go back in time. So again, we know the objective is going to come up and it's the Ocean Drake. I believe this is 4 for us. Yeah, so this should be Soul. And I want to secure the Soul. But we had enough time to take the mid tower with the Baron buff. And then I knew since we can't really get anything off of them, I want to make a move towards the Dragon Pit. Now, this is what I want you to understand because I've been in her position. She doesn't need to be there 100%, okay? They have Baron buff, but Renekton doesn't need to be here. Remember, Baron buff is an actual threat to pressure. So everybody's like trying to make a move. You don't need 3 people to take care of one Ashe. Talon already showed that he can burst her down. So if anything, maybe some support from the Swain, but pretty sure he could probably take it on anyway. And these two should have been pushing this back, and if they couldn't, they should have been able to at least support what Elise is trying to do because she's trying to sneak a dragon. The only issue is because they pulled off the lane, I knew, all right, the Baron is going to push with the minions. My biggest priority, because bot lane is already going to kill the Renekton, is to get this dragon because I can solo it as well. So I have the Baron buff though, and they're going to win. So I know the minute I'm on dragon, these two are going to pull back and come in to help me. So, help. So Nasus kills the Renekton per norm. MF for whatever reason it was able to get the pick. They didn't need 3. Elise gets trapped here. I'm still able to kill the Elise, and this is like that was a free drag soul because I have smite. So again, they didn't need to be there. If MF was even here to help from behind, she could have ulted the dragon pit because we were trapped in there and probably would have done a lot more damage to us. But she didn't. Again, because it was necessary for 3 people to go top for the Ashe. Talon again, low as hell, trying to push a wave. We still have Baron buff. We have priority with the minion wave. Nasus is pushing bot. So even if Talon were to push that in, we knew that we'd be able to still we'd be able to like out push him essentially. That's exactly what happened. That's why you feed Nasus. So shields the wave. It doesn't matter for us because Nasus is huge and we have a Soraka. MF is by herself and Vernekton's here. He's like forcing stuff to happen. He doesn't need to. But dying for nothing. Pretty sure we win this trade again. Yep. And here, 20 to 35. Dragon Soul, we are up one tower. Like, and that's what I mean about objective control. The minute you lose map presence as the jungler, the more likely the tables are going to turn in the enemy's favor. The other issue is too when people keep trying to force stuff. Um, like 99% of the time, it's always gonna work against you because you force stuff that you start tunneling and then you don't think about what you need to do. Biggest thing you also need to learn, this Nessa is doing a really good job, is when you guys take an objective and you're supposed to reset, try if you have the time and you see what the enemy is doing to go to work backwards and steal the enemy's camps because like you basically like starve the jungler of CS and you you prevent them from like catching up in a sense by starving them. And when you starve them, that's when you're going to be able to make these plays even more often because they're going to come and check. If you ward it, you're going to be able to make a pick off. Renekton already left because he knows it was over. Hold on, let me. Oh yeah, okay, so they got into a weird fight here. They were getting picked off, but I told them, I was pinging to tell them to come up here so that I can come in. And Bard was able to ult me with my ult up, which is really nice for me. Then we were able to clean up. Renekton and gets tilted and leaves. But so, and like this is what I want you guys to understand. Like look, and I'm gonna play it in a second. We still have, okay, actually Baron buff is done. The Ashe is top, she's pushing. I know they don't see me, it's fine. But they're trying to force a pick. This Talon is kind of forcing too much stuff to happen. The Nasus is super strong right now. He's 10 and 2 and he has a Trinity Force, the Dead Man's Plate, and Merc Treads. I mean, Merc Treads isn't really anything, but he's almost done with completing. I believe he's getting a Stairx gauge. But he's forcing this push, okay? And because they're going in, the enemy team feels like they need to follow that up, which sometimes you kind of just need to assess the situation because they could have easily had one person keep the Ashe out. Honestly, if I were the Talon, I would have waited to the Ashe for Ashe to show up and then go for her. But anyway, hindsight's over 2020. So we start. He messes up, so he's literally forcing this fight to happen. Brand or Bard did a really good job ulting the team. It gave me enough time to set up behind here and push in. But like, look how quickly that turned. Even with the ult, it didn't matter. He forced the situation to happen, and nobody died. The only person that died was the enemy team. And then that was a brilliant ult from Ashe. So we clean up and then we so I understand a lot of the times in this elo when we're playing and it's not going in our way, we're like, oh, GG, whatever, different, all that stuff. You got to change the mentality. You got to think, okay, how am I able to salvage this? Like, we were behind, but I was still in the mindset of, okay, I need to work towards securing objectives. If we can secure the objective, we can get those small buffs that will slowly start stacking on top of each other, and then we're gonna be the stronger team. Because both comps were pretty decent. I want to say because we had the Nasus, I had my like team all like our. It's really hard to say. Like if they were able to use their team comp well, they probably would have been able to kill us a lot more. But because there was this constant, I need to do something. I need to do something. I need to force this. That there was never a time when the enemy team was actually together, um, and they had everything up at the same time. Whereas we would get picks, and then we would be able to assess a lot better, have control of the map, have control of objectives, and determine like what the next move was for us and how we were going to win. So that's what I want to make sure you guys realize as, whether you're in iron, bronze, silver, gold. I even saw it a little bit in plat. Um, but a lot of people get so caught up with trying to make up their mistakes, and like so they force stuff to happen instead of saying, okay, I messed up, what do I need to do better, where do I need to place my attention towards, and then go for it. A lot of people do this like self-destructive personality where they like either they blame other people or they blame themselves, and then they just keep going down down. You got to stop that. I catch myself doing it in games. If you watch me streaming, sometimes I'll do it. I get really annoyed too because sometimes the lanes won't pay attention. And this is why I'm making this video to kind of help you guys out. So biggest thing to work, if you play mid's basic job is to, so as a mid laner, you are actually the one that can control how well the jungler does and how well the other lanes are doing. If you're capable of pushing up the lane or getting priority and making a play somewhere else, you're going to relieve one, pressure for the junglers because you're also ganking. Two, creating more pressure on the map because they know the mid laner is gonna gank a lot more. And three, it's gonna prevent the that type of aggressive mentality on the enemy team. The more pressure you put, the more defensive they're gonna play. And when sometimes playing defensive is good, but if you're able to play defensive in your favor, where you're kind of forcing them to react to you, that's where you start seeing a lot more of your wins. Um, and the biggest thing, if you see your jungler go for the scuttle, help the jungler out. If you see that the jungler is getting invaded by the enemy jungler, help your jungler out. Like I've gotten into a lot of games where the mid laner says I don't have prio, but they're like in the middle of the lane just trying to last hit CS. Like priority is getting it when the wave is in the middle or the wave is pushed up. If and even if it's not, losing a little bit of CS to help the jungler out means that the jungler, if you guys are able to take out that jungler, the jungle pressure is gone from the enemy jungler, and that jungler can make a play to your lane. So you help out the other lanes are going to help you. Stop being so selfish and I need CS, um, because it's a team game. If you're able to help the team, you're going to win the game. For the support, if you're a support, knowing how to roam as a support is important. Keep an eye on the jungler as well. Like you're doing the same thing the mid laner is. You're going to help with the scuttle when you can. You're going to help with objectives. You're going to help with counter invades, etc. When you're bot lane, ADCs, supports, I always see them fighting, especially in gold. When you guys win a team fight and there's only one person on the under their tower, there's this like mentality where you guys feel like you need to kill the second person, the ADC or the support, whoever's left, instead of helping the dragon pit. I've found myself like dying or not being able to get a free Drake because bot lane is so caught up with having to kill the last person. Like, stop. You got the kill. Reset yourself. You're not getting anything from staying under their tower. It takes a while for the plate to go down anyway. Go help, see if the jungler needs your help, see what you could do, ward up, ward the jungle so you can prevent another gank, and then reset. Top lane is kind of like an island. If you're falling behind, play safe and allow the jungler, or play safe and set up something where the jungler is capable of actually ganking you. As a jungler, you always want to keep map pressure. You always want to make sure you're keeping an eye on where the jungler is so that you can make a play either to counter gank if you're capable of it, if the matchup's good, or to make a play somewhere else. Other than that, I know there was a lot of talk through, but I wanted you guys to see how uh, how to specifically jungle with Fiddlesticks, how to be able to kind of turn the tables on a losing team, um, and like how to jungle in general. If you have any questions, let me know. If you want to, like, if you want me to do a video on something else, like, put it in the comments below. I stream currently 10 a.m. On Eastern Standard Time to about 2 in the afternoon, 3 in the afternoon, depending. Sometimes I'll stream at night. Um, but you could follow me. I'll put the Twitch link below. And if you want to see another video on something else, like, feel free to let me know. All right, peace.